Because a lot of people use this term, lose your salvation, lose your salvation. And I don't believe that that's possible.
This is correct, Chris. So I'm wondering where this conditional salvation concept's coming from. But let's check a couple verses first. 1 John 4:13 through 18. This is how we know that we live in Him and He in us. He has given us of His Spirit, and when we have seen and testified that the Father has sent His Son to be the Savior of the world. If anyone acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, God lives in them and they in God. And so we know and rely on the love of God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. 1 John 2:3 through 6. We know that we have come to know Him if we keep His commands. Whoever says, I know Him, but does not do what He commands is a liar, and the truth is not in that person. But if anyone obeys His word, love for God is truly made complete in them. This is how we know we are in Him. Whoever claims to live in Him must live as Jesus did. 1 John 3:19 through 24. This is how we know that we belong to the truth, and how we set our hearts at rest in His presence. If our hearts condemn us, we know that God is greater than our hearts, and He knows everything. Dear friends, if your hearts do not condemn us, we have confidence before God and receive from Him anything we ask, because we keep His commands and do what pleases Him. And this is His command, to believe in the name of His Son Jesus Christ, and to love one another as He commanded us. The one who keeps God's commands lives in Him, and He in them. And this is how we know that He lives in us. We know it by the Spirit He gave us.
Number one, the word backslides from the devil. A true Christian, a true born-again Christian does not backslide, intentionally, at least. If they backslide, they're being attacked by the devil viciously, and they fight it and come out of it, and it shouldn't even be considered a backslide. That's a lie of the devil, that word backslidden and backslide. That word, I don't believe that word's in the Bible once.
Hey everyone, today is Saturday, September 9th, 2017, and I have a question. Are you familiar with the term backsliding or the word backslidden? Which one resonates with you? Because if you're like me, it's backslidden. And yet now we see something different being used. And what does backslidden mean? It means that you have fallen away from walking with Jesus Christ, right? And you fell into sin. That's what that term means in Christian language.
Well, as we can see, the word backslide can be backslide or backslidden and backsliding. And it means to lapse morally or in the practice of religion, to revert to a worse condition. Backslide noun, backslider noun. Here's one example of the word backslide. Therefore I bring charges against you again, declares the Lord, and I will bring charges against your children's children. Cross over to the coast of Cyprus and look. Send to Kedar and observe closely. See if there has ever been anything like this. Has a nation ever charged its gods? Yet they are not gods at all. But my people have exchanged their glorious God for the worthless idols. Be appalled at this, you heavens, and shudder with great horror, declares the Lord. My people have committed two sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. Is Israel a servant, a slave by birth? Why then has he become plunder? Lions have roared, they have growled at him. They have laid waste at his land. His towns are burned and deserted. Also the men of Memphis and Taphanes have cracked your skull. Have you not brought this on yourselves by forsaking the Lord your God when he led you in the way? Now why go to Egypt to drink water from the Nile? And why go to Assyria to drink water from the Euphrates? Your wickedness will punish you. Your backsliding will rebuke you. Chris said this isn't in the Bible. And it's over here in the KJV too. This is so interesting. Consider then and realize how evil and bitter it is for you when you forsake the Lord your God and have no awe of me, declares the Lord Almighty. Turn, faceless people. I will cure you of your backsliding. But according to Chris, the word backsliding is not in the Bible. Yes, we will come to you, for you are the Lord our God. Surely the idolatrous commotion on the hills and mountains is deception. Surely in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. From our youth, shameful gods have consumed the fruits of our ancestors' labor, their flocks and herds, their sons and daughters. Let us lie down in our shame, and let our disgrace cover us. We have sinned against the Lord our God, both we and our ancestors, from the youth till this day. We cannot obey the Lord our God.
Well, let me share a few interesting headlines with you. This was in the BBC, and
In fact, I'm almost 100% certain it's not in the Bible, because it makes no sense with Bible.